This is our candidate for the day. This is my acacia tree, which is grown by me from a seed. It's about 2 years old, and as you can see, it's quite big. It was even bigger. I don't know, it grew about 1 meter in height, and I prune it back. Now it looks like this, and I want to repot it. And to do so, I need to prune it back again. Yeah, it's not quite the right time to do that, but I want to do it because I want to put it under grow lights, and that will be fine. I want to prune it because and repot it because it behaves quite strange in the winter. It sheds its leaves if the branches are way too long. These are now about 40-50 centimeters in length. So I'm gonna prune it back and repot it because it has never been repotted. Okay, it's in a turfus capsule, that expandable capsule. For those who haven't seen the previous video, I encourage it to see it. The link is down in the description. So I've just placed that capsule after the tree has developed roots and just repotted it in a bigger pot. So that's it. It has never been repotted, and I'm very curious to see what's down there. But first, let's prune the tree. I need to use some pliers here to hold the branch because it's just full of nasty thorns. So I'm gonna use some pliers to hold down the branch with one hand and prune it back with the scissors, because I also want to try to propagate this tree. So let me just try to do this. I'm looking for buds, but I'm gonna prune it back to 2 buds, 2 or 3, something like that. Hold it, prune it pretty hard back. Okay, so I'm not gonna prune that one because it's a lower branch, and as you can see, it's thinner than the other two. So I need to let that grow in order to thicken up, because it must be thicker than the upper branches. So what I'm gonna do now is grab one of the branches, and I want to keep the lower part, which is kind of a little lignified. I'm not gonna keep the very green part, the top part. So I'm gonna keep this and discard that. Okay, just gonna try to take off some of the lower leaves and some of the thorns here. Just gonna make a 45-degree angle cut, and this is my cutting. I'm gonna put it in water for now. I don't intend to keep it in water for a long time. I'm scared of those stones. Okay, and let's go with the other one also. Prune it. Also from the top, because it's just a stick with no roots, and it doesn't have much capacity to hold on to leaves. So, and what I mean by that is to give water to the leaves. So you have to, when you're making cuttings, you have to prune a lot of the foliage, because there's nothing there to give enough water to the leaves if there are too many leaves there. But first, I just wanna clean these cuts, these older stubs, just a little bit. So these are from the previous prunings that I made. Also, this big one here, just gonna try to make it look pretty. As good as I possibly can. Okay. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna put cutting paste. It's way too small. It's not a problem for the tree. Let's repot the tree. Let's clean it up a little bit. I'm not going to be extremely aggressive because I know these desert trees, let's say, it's not quite a desert, but it's a savanna. So you can see the stuff from this should have been decomposed by now, but it's pretty hard for them to decompose indoors. So not too that big of a problem, of a deal. It will decompose in time. So let's see. Yeah, the roots are developed, but not quite as much as I wanted them to be. You see, this is the tap root. I think I'm gonna leave it alone for now. Quite a big tap root here. You see? I'm just gonna prune it, but not that hard. Be gentle. So be gentle, be gentle. Just gonna give it a nice all-around prune. Also on the bottom here. And I think that's about when it kind of smells like food. Doesn't smell bad, weird, just such a weird smell. So now I'm gonna decide if I'm gonna put it in that pot again. But you know what? I think I'm gonna choose something like this, more like this, because it's not that deep, as you can see. It's a little bit more shallow and it's bigger, okay, it's wider. I think I'm gonna put it in this good pot, big pot, because I need to let this tree thicken up like a lot more. I'm gonna keep it small, but I need to thicken it up. It's way too thin. I can see some buds here and there, everywhere. So you can have, of course, and I encourage you to grow small bonsai trees, even though it's a lot harder. A small bonsai tree is just more appropriate, and I'm gonna tell you, it's a lot more valuable than a bigger tree, because everybody knows that it's, I'm just gonna prune this off some more. It's a lot harder to develop small trees. So I don't think I'm gonna mess with it. Just a little bit maybe. I'm not liking these big roots. So that's it for now. I put some wires in. It's not extremely necessary, but make it a habit. Please make it a habit. Put wires and tie your tree to the pot. You will thank me on the long run, I guarantee it. So I didn't put any mesh in because I'm gonna just use very large particles of volcanic lava at the bottom to kind of cover up the holes and the substrate. My potting mix, my bonsai potting mix will not fold through the holes. And I'm gonna show you my potting mix for this tree. So what I've got here is a little tiny amount of akadama, but it's mostly contained of volcanic lava, two types of fired up clay, which is sensational. If you can put your hands on fired up clay, it's just amazing. I've got some sphagnum moss, dried up sphagnum moss, a little tiny bit of perlite, and also I'm pretty sure you cannot see it, but I've got sand in here. You always need to think about your plant. Where does it grow in its natural habitat? So the acacia tree grows in savannas. Well, that soil it's pretty sandy, but please do not go overboard with this. Do not go, it grows in sand, we're gonna just put it in sand, okay? Because it's a potted plant and it doesn't work like that. So let's go in and make our repot. And if you use a sprayer like this on your potting mix, okay, that sand, don't drench it, just moist it, okay? That sand will stick to the particles, so it's gonna be just fine. I'm gonna top it up here. Yeah, let's see. I wanna bury it a little deeper, so I think I'm gonna stop here. Just gonna work it in a little bit with my chopstick. I can feel it. I can feel it. It's pretty aerated. You can see it doesn't sit. The stick doesn't sit on its own, which is nice that I put the wires in. But also, let me make a little hill here. Okay. And just come in with my tree. I don't need to care about the design or anything. Push it hard like this and try to wire the tree to the pot. Okay. So now that my tree is nice and secured, we're gonna fill in the potting mix. Fill in the pot with our potting mix, just like that. This potting mix will make wonders for this tree, I guarantee it. So let's work it in, starting from the edge. And work your way towards the inside of the pot, inside of a circle. Just do it good, be brave. This is mandatory, be brave. Be thorough. Oh, I'm just loving the feel. It feels very aerated, and that's because I try to use smaller potting mix particles. Put a little bit more in. Okay. I made just enough. You will get good at this with time. I mean, I kind of try to make the potting mix for each and every tree. Sometimes I make a higher amount of potting mix, but I know that specific potting mix I'm gonna use for a lot of my trees. So if I make a potting mix for tropicals and subtropicals, I'm gonna make more because I know I'm gonna repot more trees. So this is about it. I'm gonna take it to the showers to remove all the dust from this potting mix and put the shower on, keep it on, keep it on, keep it on until clear water drains from the bottom of the pot. This is also mandatory. Please do it and do it now. So until we wait for our little acacia tree to drain a little bit, let me take a look at these queries. These are little benjamina ficuses which I propagated 10 days ago. Let's take them out of our little greenhouse. This helps you a lot if you don't have a greenhouse, or let's say an improvised greenhouse like this. It's the success rate when you are making cuttings, when you're rooting cuttings, it's not quite high. So let's take a look at them. These are my three cute little benjaminas, ficuses. In just 10 days they have rooted, and I know that because if I try to move them around, okay, to jiggle them a little bit, I can feel a lot of resistance there, and that means they have rooted. So I now need to take them out because you see this one has made a lot of aerial roots which are quite covered in mold. They're gonna die now because the air is dry, but that's not a problem. Anyways, they're grown pretty chaotic, and I don't care about this at this stage. Okay, I don't care about aerial roots at this stage. I can try maybe to put this in the ground, but I don't know. I don't think that would work, and also it's a little bit too close to my to the tree base, and yeah, I'm just not going to care about that for now. If I want to develop aerial roots, I can do so, but a lot later. Now all I care about is the trees to grow very, very, very healthy, grow big, and to start making cool bonsais out of them. I will be slip potting these trees in about, I don't know, 3 months, 4 months, something like that. I'll just slip pot them into bigger pots, just like this, okay? I don't know, something, okay, bigger pots. And put them into nice bonsai potting mix. So let's take a look of the lights. Let's take a look at the lights now, the artificial bonsai growing lights. So these are my cheap growing lights. They're LED lights, they're full spectrum. As you can see, at some point they had like a plastic cover here, which I removed because the only use for that was just to protect the LEDs from water, but I'm not gonna put them underwater. I'm not gonna spray them. And by cutting this plastic thingy off, which was not that clear, you see, I've gained a lot of power in my lights that aren't that powerful. So for the last couple of years I've been using those lights on my bigger trees, but you know what? Yeah, there's a difference, but not that big of a difference. So I decided to use them on my small cuttings and things that I'm propagating, because those things don't need as much light as these guys do, because you know what, these are too big and those lights are too small. So let's mount them up. This little spider has a clamp. You can clamp it. It's quite heavy duty, so I'm gonna clamp it now onto this table pretty good, and I'm gonna try to come in with my little lights and cover up all the trees. Yeah, it's winter, it's dark, but now there's a lot of sun coming in. But don't get fooled by that, because it's not gonna last a lot of time. I like them because I can just twist them around, okay, and bring them close to each and every tree. I can also move the trees around here and there, which I will do after this video. But for now, we're good to go. And this is our wired remote. So what I've got here is my power, the timer. I can set them up for 3 hours, 9 hours, or 12 hours. But just the power, which of course will be at max. Okay, so now the light is blue. I can change the color to red and also to purple. So there's a set of lights that changes the color: blue, red, and then purple. But the purple is because the red and the blue are lit together at the same time, so it makes this purplish color, which is very, very good for growing trees. So this is my setup for the winter. Of course, I will move them around. I move trees all over the place in my balcony here, because I just need to do so. So I'm gonna try to put them even closer. They will help a lot. Don't just keep the lights on all the time. It's very, very important that the trees get that cycle, that day and night cycle, because things are happening when it's light out and other things are happening when it's dark outside. Okay, the night shift kicks in and different things happen. So they need to have night and day cycles. What's the main idea with this? Well, there's not enough light. When it's winter, it's cloudy. It's, see, there's some sun out, but it's pretty cloudy. Also, the days are way shorter, so this helps out a lot. What we're doing here is just supplementing light, and try to think, you just want to simulate a longer day. That's the main idea. Just simulate a longer day. If you guys live down the tropics, That's no problem for you. But here in the northern hemisphere, it's quite challenging. So that's about it for today. I've got some more pomegranates, dwarf pomegranates cuttings. Maybe I will try to squeeze them there. But you know what? They grow so fast. I don't think I'm gonna need to do that. So this is it for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please leave a comment and we'll see each other in the next video when I will be explaining this little benjamina. We're gonna remove the wires and prepare it for the stage 3 transition to become an amazing little cute bonsai tree. Bye bye.